With the Advantex subfloor assembly, you can be sure that you're building a reputation on something stronger. And the best builders, well, they may always stand apart, but they never stand alone. So ask yourself, are you bringing your A game?
Hey, Unbuild It Show. Steve Baczek, architect out here. I'm out at my project out in Amarillo, Texas. And I thought we'd shoot a quick video and just talk a little bit about water management. And notice I said water management. I didn't say water barrier. I didn't say water dam, water resistor. I said water management. So let's talk about water management for a second. It rains on the house. What's our first, tool to battle the rain? Well, roof overhang, right? And you can see here, these are about a 2-foot overhang. So we're doing really good. And you can see there's a relationship that I like to work up, that the distance of the overhang and the head of the window to the overhang, I like to have 2 to 1, meaning that the distance out is at least twice the distance up. And that puts us at probably something like a 20-degree level, 22-degree angle. So it's really got to be somewhat of a horizontal rain to get to the head of the window. Now, I've done a number of studies. Years ago, we did a couple-year study on window flashings and window installations, and one of the things that we came out of there was very rarely do windows leak at the sill, very rarely do windows leak at the jamb. Windows tend to leak at the head. So getting back to what I just said, we have a 2-foot overhang with a 1-foot depth here. So that head is what I would call very well protected, which puts these windows at a very low risk. It's one of the beauties of a ranch building with nice big overhangs, is that it's going to last a really long time because you're not going to get a lot of water on these walls. So as we move closer, we could talk a little bit. So the roof overhang is all about getting as much water off of the window as possible. So now what happens to the water that does hit the window? Well, you can see here, we'll zoom in, the window is actually sitting up about 3/8 of an inch, and we have a full sill pan here. And when I say sill pan, this flex tape, stretch tape, goes in and it has a vertical edge on the inside. It's 3/4 of an inch. So any water that makes it into there is going to drain out, and it's going to drain out the face of this. Now, you notice that we have furring strips here, and the furring strips here, those are going to continue down the wall, and they're going to make up our rain screen system. So in here, there's going to be intermittent furring strips, and if I can back out, you can see we have a 3/4 inch space there, and then we have that 3/4 inch space here. This one we integrated into that sill flashing, but basically we have what's called a rain screen, and that rain screen is basically does 2 things. It allows water to drain out, but it allows airflow to come up and come out. So I call it down and out and up and away is how I typically describe it. Now the windows also, you can see, they have little weeps right there. And those little weeps, they have an integral water management system, so that if there is any water that gets in between the sash, this is an operable sash, and the frame, if any water does get in there, it finds its way to the weep and it comes out and just simply drains out. So the unit is water managed, the house is water managed, and the window is set in a sill pan and is water managed. So we talked about the relationship of the head. You can see that head is literally about 2 inches down from the bottom of the soffit. So the likelihood of getting water up there, it's a pretty low risk in getting water in there. So, but if it did, it would come down and it would drain out of our sill pan here. Now, the sides here, you can see we have a space that runs up. We actually will tape the outside of that and tape that to the furring strip. And then at the top, that'll get taped to the furring strip all along. So on those three sides, we'll have an exterior tape that's part of our water management system to shed the bulk water. So again, let's just review here before we cut out. We shed the bulk water with a roof. Any water that does get in here, we shed with the tape. Any water that should get behind the tape falls down into our drain pan and drains out into the rain screen system, right? So that's a water management system. And again, any water that gets in the window drains out through those weeps. So that's what we mean by a water management system instead of a water barrier. Notice no place here is this system set up to hold water, to keep water out as a barrier. I mean, we do have the tape on here and it is acting technically as a barrier. So I know, don't go commenting and sending all comments saying, hey, you do have a face sealed system. We don't. That barrier tape is to shed the bulk water off the outside, and then any water that does get into the system will drain out through our water managed system. So think of that tape as kind of I use the term sacrificial layer, so that any water that gets back there, that tape takes a little bit of a beating, tries to shed as much of it as it can, but should water make its way into the inside, then it's able to drain down and drain out that pan system. Again, you know, windows, they're not the cheapest part of the house. They're actually a very expensive component of the house. So it always amazes me that I see window installations and I'll see these multi-$1,000 window units, and then somebody's using, you know, $50 worth of tape and you know, building paper and kind of wrapping the opening lackadaisically. And you know, sad to say, I've investigated literally hundreds of window leaks that you know, it's all poor flashing. So get it right, manage it right, provide the protective measures when you can, and you'll have a window that sits in that wall for 100 years and never gets challenged. So hey, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Until next time, Steve Baczek Architect signing off.